Welcome to another episode of Random Disclaimer X Illuminated Disclaimer. For those who don't know, Random Disclaimer is my podcast, and Illuminated Disclaimer is my YouTube account. So instead of me just doing podcast only, I want to also share the video experience too. So thank you for joining, and as always, keep on finding ways to illuminate your path. So today I wanted to talk about a very big change that has happened around us over the past week. Now, Pluto is now in the star sign of Aquarius, and this is a change that has going to have big impacts over the next 20 years. Now, I am someone who's getting into astrology, understanding it and how it affects my star sign. I'm a Cancer rising, and I didn't know exactly what that meant until a couple of years ago when I started doing research about the matter. I'm also master number 33, life path number, so I am learning all these things about me, and I feel like this information can not only help me but can help you, especially if you're new to numerology. So Pluto has now moved from Capricorn, and it is now in Pluto, where it should stay until 2044, which is a massive 20 years from now. Now, the last time there was a change like this was back in 2008. So we're going to see a lot of recurring themes from 2008. So if you can remember that far back, I'm pretty sure if there's some millennials in this chat or millennials just watching this after the live show, you will know the differences between what happened to you in 2008 and what is happening to you this current day. I guess if you are someone who is younger than a millennial, um, you might not necessarily remember exactly what happened to you in 2008, but for those who don't know, I'm 32, turning 33, and I was in college, and there was a lot of changes when I went to college. I kind of found out who I found my identity in college. I found out who I was. I became grown up, I would say, when I joined college. Before that, things were just like an early episode of Scooby Doo. Like there was trials and tribulations, but everything seemed fun. But yeah, it got a bit more serious when it came to college. So we're gonna see a lot more current themes, and three of the themes I want to talk about can affect you depending on your star sign. But I would say also do research independently too, so you can find your rising sign, your moon sign, and get more information pertaining to you as an individual. So the first thing that I'm going to be talking about is the cycle of death and rebirth. They're saying over the next 20 years, this is going to be a recurring theme. Um, so I guess death and rebirth is very important because one of the only things that is promised in this lifetime is death. Is something that is a constant. It will happen, and I feel like the way we view death is not necessarily the best. Sometimes we mourn and we grieve, which is understandable, and I recommend everyone do this. But over the next 20 years, I feel like the way we see death needs to change. We need to see death as a form of rebirth. Now, this could be family members, this could be animals, this could be friends, this could be someone in your social setting, this could be huge leaders. We just need to understand that death is inevitable and death is something that needs to be accepted. We just need to take our own time to grieve through the process, but eventually, once we get to acceptance, that's when we could start moving on and fully um, understanding the processes of death. So the main theme, if this is death and rebirth, and this doesn't necessarily mean that someone or something has to die. This is more about how you can go through a metamorphosis within yourself. Now, if you think about a caterpillar, for example, a caterpillar technically dies in a sense when it goes into its cocoon. You know, caterpillars usually are worm-like, but when they create the shell, when they go into the cocoon, they actually dissolve. Their body dissolves, and they regenerate as a butterfly. So I thought that, the wings come up the caterpillar, they start to get the antennas and they start looking differently, but no, they dissolve and they die in a sense. Their body dies for it to be regenerated, and at that point metamorphosis has happened and they evolve into a beautiful butterfly. So death and rebirth doesn't necessarily have to mean someone dying. Death and rebirth is shedding the things that don't serve you anymore, whether that's people, whether that's environments, whether that's your job, the list goes on. What would you say, um, if I saw you, for example, and said, what do you think about your job? What can be improved about your job? What would you like to do as a job? Now, these are some important questions that you need to ask yourself, because it's now where you can actually start putting pen to paper and thinking to yourself, you know what, this is what I want to do in the next 5 years. This is me in the next 10 years, maybe even longer. So use this time now just to understand not only where you are now and your progress, but to see what is ready for you to shed. Now, I'm not saying go out there and change your life instantaneously. I want you to actually write things down and take your time with it. Usually, sometimes we might rush, we might do things before they're ready, and that could be attributed to the ego sometimes. When it comes to your intuition, it just feels right, you know? You want to hold on to certain things like a relationship or an item that you had for a very long time, or even a job. But when the time comes, I feel like we all know, just something just feels like, yeah, this is it. And for us to do that, we need to do a lot of reflection within, and we need to understand completely that the right time to go and start the next steps is now. If not, you might see some friction. There might be more tension at your work. You might have more arguments with your significant other, or the environment you might live in is getting a bit too hard to be in. So make sure that not only you are aware that you want to make changes, make sure that you feel when the time is right, and also anticipate the signs that something is showing you friction, and use that as a means to push yourself onto the next venture. The second thing I wanted to talk about was technological change. So we're hearing about AI, we're hearing about, the Internet of Things, we're talking about autonomy, we're talking about fusion generators, and we're talking about, solar, green, sustainable energy. Now, all of these are a recurring theme over the next 20 years, and they might be bad for a lot of people. We might lose freedoms as a result. And I would invite you to think about the other sides of what these changes are doing. If the AI does all the hard autonomy of work, and we have to work less or not have a job as a result, then that could give us more time to actually delve deeper into who we truly are as an individual. I feel that universal basic income is something that's coming. You read between the lines, in the lines, and you look at all the news articles today, and they're kind of pointing in that direction. Even in the UK, they're introducing universal credit. Now, for those of you who don't know, universal credit is all your benefits that you are entitled to rolled into one effective payment. Before, you might get 4 or 5 different payments, but now they're just saying you get one payment, universal credit. Now, universal credit and universal basic income have that word universal in it. So I feel like that is the precursor for UBI, but I could be wrong. I like saying things, and some things I often do get correct. So yeah, hold me to it. If this does happen, you owe me a Guinness. But back to the point, it's very interesting to observe how the world is changing. A lot of people are losing their jobs, and it is unfortunate. And if universal basic income does come, then a lot of people are going to find themselves with several dozen hours a week just free. What do we do? What can we do? And this is the most important thing. Try to find out what you want to do as an individual, because when this change comes, it might just happen overnight. I'm seeing things, if you look at Zora, for example, is AI from OpenAI, and it's SORA, and this came out a few weeks ago, and it was so realistic. It took me about 30 times just to watch a certain video, just to go, oh, I saw something. They're not good with hands, for example. But if this is technology today, and a year ago we saw horrible videos of celebrities eating spaghetti in a weird way, what's going to happen a year from now? We need to understand that Moore's law dictates that computing power doubles every 18 months. So this is not logarithmic, this is exponential. It's only going to get significantly higher year on year, but with AI, what I've seen so far, it's going to get significantly more efficient, and it's going to get more clear, and it's going to be more or less discernible from actual real life people or events in weeks or even days. Now, I stopped watching a lot of the AI for AI news for my own sanity. So I was just like, wow, wow, wow. Let me just take a break. So I took a break and I kind of realized to myself, I just need to take it easy. But one thing's for certain, you need to be very, 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 very mindful of what you want to do now as an individual, especially over the next 20 years. This could be the difference between you being sad and not really knowing what you want to do and you being the CEO of your own business. I know a lot of people who are having jobs right now and they're actually running their own business, whether it's making music or creating their own photography studio or offering out tutoring or counseling sessions like myself. Everybody is starting to break through of the conventional norms of what is being shown to them on a daily basis, and they're actually saying, you know what, I'm going to build my brand, and my brand is not a logo and some words or a location. You are your own brand. I am my brand. People will come to watch my videos because they want to see me, not necessarily about what I'm saying. When I teach my students want me because it's me. Everyone can teach you how to do fractions, but they come to you because you are the face of your own brand, therefore you are your brand. Basic maths, but maths is everywhere. That's what Pythagoras said. Now, the third thing I want to say before I end today is the third thing we're going to be seeing over the next 20 years will be social change. Now, as you can see, there is so much injustice going on, and a lot of people are drained of energy. They're lethargic. They don't want to do things. They don't want to be social because they are being controlled by something that they have no control over. So, in other words, a lot of people are looking at all the monstrosities going on across the world, wanting to do something, and they can't do something, and that weighs heavy on your heart and your mind, and even your soul by extension. A lot of us, we just really want to just do that because we're kind people by nature. I feel like personally, humans are inherently good. So saying that, when a lot of injustices are going on and we feel like we can do something but we can't, we take it personally. And a lot of us, we can't necessarily change the world like that unless we go through the proper steps. Me personally, like my parents' country of Guyana, it might be invaded by Venezuela, and that's going on in the news. And I'm thinking to myself, yo, if they come into Guyana, I'm getting on a flight. Like, I've got the money there in an account. I've got the money there in an account. Like, I'm going there first class and I'm fighting. But a lot of us might feel like we can't do anything. Even me going over there, will I make a change? No. But the biggest thing is we're starting to go through a change as Pluto goes into Aquarius for the next 20 years. Social change, identity, community, these things are going to be thrown into the limelight. As you can see, our world leaders, they seem like they're actually not doing things logically, like they're fighting each other. We spend, it's going to go around 2.5% GDP in the UK for spending for the military. 2.5% of our country's GDP, that is millions. To be honest with you, that's billions. That's billions of pounds. Billions of pounds that could be helping all of us. It could be creating youth clubs. It could be making sure that nobody is homeless. It could be making sure that everybody has a free meal. It could be going towards reducing university bills, but we're going toward, it's all going towards ridiculous things, tanks and guns and things that we use to slay other people, especially the innocent ones. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And one of the reasons I made Illuminate Disclaimer in the first place was to help people who were affected by these things. But over the next 20 years, things will change. The powers that be at the top, they will start to dissipate. They'll get outed. These people will have fall from graces, and they'll just become regular folk like you and me. and it's up to us as a collective to actually rebuild what we want to see. We want to see positivity, we want to see growth, we want to see equality, we want to see fairness, we want to have the community back. I walk down the street a lot of the time and people either cross the road or look down at their phones while I walk past them, and it's come to me now, and I'm just like, I might as well just do the same thing, just look at my phone or not have eye contact. It was never meant to be like that. If humankind as we are now was around for around 50,000 years approximately, we have spent the last 5, 10 years maybe, as opposed to the previous 49,900 and whatever, not being social. I'm talking to all of you from my phone. 20 years ago, this would have been me speaking to a hall full of 100 people, maybe more. But this is where the change starts. And what I would say is, this is the perfect time to cement who you truly are. Cement it. Make sure that if anyone speaks to you, you have unwavering conviction that you are this person who you're saying to be and who you will be over the next 20 years. I don't want you to be like, yeah, I've got this brand, I'm amazing by yourself, but when people speak to you, don't do much, yeah, I might start a business. No, say everything with chest. Say everything with chest. I don't want to hear no excuses. Like, this is your time to excel. It's gonna take a while, it's not overnight, but one thing I could say is be consistent. And I don't want to boast or brag or bring any of that into it, but if I can do that, being a father, having 4 jobs, I would actually say 5 jobs, one is unpaid at the moment. I can see my peoples, I can do my emails, I could mark work, I can do admin for my other jobs, I can travel around, I can go to an event. I'm about to go to an event right now, actually. I'm going to 2 events tonight. I could do all of that, have my own brand. You can too. You can too. Like, just make time and start to slowly become that person. And who knows, you can have a YouTube channel just like me. Just organize your time and understand who you are as an individual. I don't want anyone to like comment to me and just say, you know what, I feel like I'm that person, but someone's bringing me down. Ultimately, that person in a few years, you might not really talk to the way you talk to them now. Now is your time to shine. But just know with a pinpoint certainty who you are, and understand from the bottom of your heart, body, and soul that you will become that person. You will become that person. There is nothing going to hold you back. Just remember to be kind to yourself, and also be consistent. Be kind, be consistent, take small steps, and make sure you monitor your progress and make sure you write down and celebrate your milestones. And in the next handful of years, you can be someone significantly better. You can be financially free and abundant. You can be someone who's traveling the world. You can be someone who's got thousands of followers or subscribers. Your time is now. So that was more or less in a nutshell 3 massive things which is going to happen with the Pluto Transit in Aquarius over the next 20 years. If you do have any questions, please let me know. Thank you for supporting, and please like and subscribe and maybe share to your friends. You never know who knows this information. I know a lot of people I know don't really know about these things, but me personally, when it comes to astrology, I've learned a lot of these things, and some things I don't understand or claim to think is happening to me. But with these things, they can be a beacon of profound change. We just need to allow what is being said to us to be resonated. You know, whether it's true or false, is good to see alternate points of views and life paths, which is different from what we are force fed through the mainstream media and conformity. So yes, thank you so much for watching, and as always, keep on finding ways to illuminate your path. Salute.